you friends, family, faculty and staff, community members, and underclassmen for being here today. As seniors on our last day of school, we are ready to tell you our story. Class Day was created 99 years ago as a day of celebration, a day of happiness and see you soons. It's a day to recognize the class that sits on the stage before you. It's a bittersweet tradition held on what is usually the hottest day of the year, but we're still looking good. This is our day to remember our years together, a day to cry with happiness and give lots of hugs. It's a day to be proud to be the class of 2018.
We are proud to be blue and white because blue represents our intelligence and confidence. White represents our blank canvas on which we write our life stories upon. Tomorrow we start writing on our blank canvas of life and begin our epic adventures. For the underclassmen in the audience, we are all in your seats, waiting for it to be our class day. Let me tell you, it comes much sooner than you want it to, so enjoy it every day you have here. Believe me, your class day will come faster than you think. But for today, please join us as we reflect and reminisce about our 13 years together as a class.
In kindergarten, our teachers were Mrs. Rovers and Mrs. Spoon. We were joined by Hunter Bayshard,
Kate is great.
Caitlin Balker,
Whoever said that Dom is our girl's best friend never owned a dog.
Hannah Booth,
Not everyone's worth melting for.
Kyle Cahoon,
I finally figured out what's wrong with my head. On the left side, there's nothing right, and on the right side, there's nothing left.
Allison Dupree,
If you can't, you must. If you must, you can.
Sadie Garceau,
I'm always smiling because I never know what's going on.
Lindsay Gilmore,
Life doesn't have any hands, but it can sure give you a slap sometimes.
Abigail Dagno,
If you think you're too small to be effective, you have never been in bed with a mosquito.
Mackenzie Gay,
Expect nothing and appreciate everything.
Brendan Hostler,
I used to think I had no idea what I was doing with my life. Now I know for certain I have no idea what I'm doing with my life.
Brian McAfee,
Dobby is a free elf.
Joshua Macaulay.
Work hard in silence and let success be your noise.
Eli Moak.
Some people see the glass half full, some people see the glass half empty. I'll probably just spill whatever's in it.
Connor Morse.
Chazy, boys don't quit.
Emily Pilon.
Everybody always says that life is easy peasy lemon squeezy. In my experience, it's been difficult, lemon difficult.
Joseph Pilon.
It's all over now.
Natalie Combrio.
Today I will be as useful as the G in lasagna.
Liam Roberts.
Refuse to be great, aim to be average.
Olivia Tebow.
Don't give up on your dreams, keep sleeping.
Nathan Trombley.
Believe you will win, but know you can lose.
Julia West.
Dear parents, thank you for sheltering me for 18 years, but it's time for college.
Lydia West.
Some people are like clouds. When they leave, your day gets brighter.
Love was in the air this spring when Joseph Pilon came back from spring break, all tan. The girls thought he was cute and were smitten. It appeared that Olivia Tebow and Natalie Combrio were the most taken. We went caroling with the seniors and enjoyed eating the snow and performing. We also listened to the seniors read holiday stories by the fire and had s'mores in the Shakespeare room. We performed the Macarena at our gym show. Watching a 9-month pregnant Mrs. Rovers dance was the best part because she could move. We had a substitute teacher, Mrs. Pupor, for the remainder of the school year since Mrs. Rovers had her baby. We enjoyed Mother's Day tea with our moms, eating homemade cookies along with juice and tea. We have loads of fun at our Point of Rush field trip, even though the weather was cloudy, cold, and dreary. We had our annual award ceremony in the auditorium because of the rainy weather. On the last day of school, we had a cookout and played with our friends. I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Eli Moak.
First grade. In first grade, our teachers were Mrs. Olin and Mrs. Woods. We were joined by Hutchinson LeBombard.
It's always funny until it happens to you.
And Austin Terrian.
I don't crash, I just park in style.
In October, we went to Apple Fest at Chazy Orchards. We took a little trip to the Red Schoolhouse and learned how school used to be. However, we found more interest in the outhouse. For Christmas, we made Christmas wreaths, and a lot of us needed lots of help. We also built graham cracker houses and decorated them with lots of candy. We were helped by our parents and 5th graders. One of us went a little overboard with the candy. Was it you, Austin? We celebrated Valentine's Day 2 days late due to a huge blizzard. Despite having 2 snow days, romances included Brian being smitten with Sadie, and Kyle having his eyes on Allison. We were beyond excited to show off our leprechaun traps to the kindergartners. We were not able to trap him, but he wrecked the room. We went to Park Safari for our end of the year trip. Some of us went to feed the deer. They were fierce, devouring our food. Natalie decided that they were getting to be a little too greedy. Eli came nose to nose with the lion, who thought he looked like lunch. Luckily, there was a glass wall between them. The weather was cold, the picnic area was very wet with long grass, and many got their feet wet. It may not have been a great day for moms, but all the kids had a great time. Our musical was E.I.E.I. Oops. Mr. Frisbee worked us hard to prepare. Our songs included Ham It Up, sung by a chorus of pigs who had great costumes. Brian did a great job as the mule, Nathan was an adorable sheep, and Josh McCulley was a great rooster. I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Caitlin Bacher.
Second grade. In second grade, our teachers were Miss Langlois and Mrs. Barkle. This year, we were joined by Carson Walfield,
Full send or no send?
and Tara Jabut.
Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning how to dance in the rain.
In October, in honor of Minor Day, we went to Lake Alice for a hike. It was a beautiful day, and Austin's dad caught a fish with his hands. Everyone was quite impressed. In December, we performed our play, Ebenezer and the Elves. Brendan did a super job playing Ebenezer. In January, we went to the teddy bear factory after studying factories. We named our bear Buddy. The boys were not happy when Julia picked out a pink bow for him. In June, we spent the day at the Echo Science Museum. Bodies in Motion was our theme. Everyone had fun except for Lindsay. We ate lunch outside on the waterfront, and a seagull pooped on her shoulder and landed in her Lunchable. She did not eat the rest of the day. At some point in the year, Miss Langlois was shocked to have Hutch get down on one knee and ask her to marry him. When taking the Terra Nova test, there was a question about what monument you would see when you enter New York City. Josh M. blurted out, "I know, I went there with Grandma. It's the Statue of Liberty." Miss Langlois quickly told him there could be no talking during the standardized test. Meanwhile, she was thinking, well, they'll get the question right. But when she walked around the room, almost everyone got it wrong, including Josh. She almost screamed. I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Hannah Booth.
In third grade, our teachers were Mrs. Favreau and Mr. Dupree. In December, we made yummy cookies and caroled around the neighborhood. It was a beautiful day for singing and walking. In February, we went to our much anticipated skiing trip to Mount Van Hoovenberg. It was the first skiing experience for many of us, including Mrs. Favreau. In May, we did well with our continence presentation and went to the Biodome. Before leaving, Mr. Dupree took some boys to the bathroom. 4 went to the urinals, while Austin went to the stall. Turns out an older man in the stalls ate something spicy because everyone heard the noise. The boys at the urinals began laughing along with Mr. Dupree because they all thought it was Austin. When we were deciding what we wanted to be when we grew up, Eli said that he would like a job like his dad's, where you sit in a chair all day. The boys were always getting in trouble on the playground playing soccer. When confronted, they would say, "Wasn't me." I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Sadie Garso.
In 4th grade, our teachers were Mrs. Sutherland and Mrs. Mosier. Mackenzie and Natalie were often in the bathroom for long periods of time. We believed they were talking, but they denied it. Lydia giggled all the time, and Nathan and Hutch were notorious whisperers. We went to the Minor Museum for Minor Day and made quill pens. Nobody could believe how hard it was to write with them. Liam was really into monsters this year and began his own monster website. This year we learned how important it was to read directions. Each student was given a paper with 12 steps. The first step was to read all the steps before starting. The last step was to ignore steps 2 through 11 and sit and relax. Brian and Abby and Eli and Olivia followed the steps while everyone else completed a lengthy quiz. The look Joseph gave Mrs. Mosier when he read the last step and realized his work was in vain was priceless. Mrs. Sutherland put Kyle and Brendan's seats together and Hutch burst into tears because he felt left out. They already sat together. Despite everything, all their remained friends. This year, Abby, Hannah, Olivia, and Sadie and Julia were together all the time. Natalie and Carson flirted with each other all the time. We went to Poetry Live. The picnic that was supposed to follow got rained out, so we ate on the bus on the ride home. Our trip to the Wild Center in Tucker was lots of fun. However, by the end of the 4-hour bus ride, we thought the boys would explode because they had been sitting so long. During the 4th grade Olympics, Miss Sutherland's class won all 3 places in the race, in the guided softball throw and the wheelbarrow race. In the water balloon toss, Mrs. Mosier's class won all the available points, winning 12 to 13. I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Tara Jabut.
In 5th grade, our teachers were Mrs. Walsh and Miss Graves. We were joined by Andrew Cunyer.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
Caitlin Walker left our class. In October, to celebrate Minor Day, we visited the Minor Farm Museum. We loved the old carriages in June and returned. Everyone put their arm in a fist-pillated cow. We were the first class to have 100% participation. Wabba Wabba was the big recess game for the girls, and World Cup was the favorite game for the boys. The class of 2023 was our kindergarten buddies, and we did lots of fun things with them, including weighing pumpkins, writing thank you cards for veterans, and celebrating Festive Fridays. We even danced in the gym show with our buddies. Austin, Hunter, and Josh McCauley were always talking about hunting, four-wheeling, and dirt bikes. Josh McCauley, Carson, Lydia were shining stars when it came to the class plays and social studies. They really get into character. The song Topsoil, Subsoil, Bedrock was a big hit in science class, and the class sang it constantly for at least a month. Dare was a big hit this year. The class loved Deputy Head. Everyone especially loved to wear the drunk glasses. Joe dyed his bangs purple, but a week later came in with his head shaved. Sadie and Kyle both took a week off to go to Disney World. Everyone was so jealous. Our class was the Incredibles for a superhero contest to raise money for the Chazy Library. Mr. Tregan was Mr. Incredible, Mrs. Walsh was Elastic Woman, Mrs. Major was Jack Jack, and all the boys were Dash, and all the girls were Violet. We raised the most money and won the contest. We were able to present new books to Mrs. Fairchild at the library. In May, we visited Gray Mountain Gravel. They gave us bright orange t-shirts to wear. It rained so hard that day that we were unable to blast with dynamite. Everyone was disappointed, especially the boys. Mrs. Walsh ordered 5 caterpillars for the class, but we watched them transform into butterflies. We named them Fat Albert, Hot Wings, Macaroni, Felix, and Hammy. We set them free in June. Our final field trip was to the Shelburne Museum. Luckily, we had perfect weather, and everyone had a great time. I will now turn the reading over to our friend and classmate, Natalie Combrio.
Sixth grade. In 6th grade, our teachers were Mrs. Gavois and Mrs. Lambert. Caitlin Bacher rejoined our class in December. We visited Pocomacrady in October and climbed Rattlesnake Mountain and did team building. We returned in the spring to hike Poca Moonshine, canoe, participate in the low ropes course, and climb the climbing wall. Students in the canoeing group paired up with a French-speaking student from another school. Everyone had a blast, but Andrick, who on the hike, said, "Who signed me up for this?" Mrs. Ledoux told the class that Beautiful by Estee Lauder was named after her. They had to try some of her lotion. Joshua Macaulay received marriage lessons from Mrs. Ledoux because he wasn't always being nice to girls. Natalie always left messes everywhere and claimed that they were other people's books and papers. There wasn't a whole lot of dating except for Connor and an 8th grader. She would walk by the room every day and Connor would just happen to have to go to the bathroom. That is until Mrs. Gabwalk caught on. In June, we participated in the environmental field day learning about composting, maple sugar making, and tree planting. This is our year to put on Fun Day. The theme was to make you smile. Lindsay designed the back of the t-shirt. Practices did not go so well as the class often lacked enthusiasm. When the day came, it was windy and cool. The class commented that sometimes kids wouldn't listen to them. The teachers laughed. I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Lydia West. In 7th grade, we were joined by Audrey Roy.
If Plan A fails, remember that you have 25 letters left.
When playing Xbox with his friends, Kyle constantly yelled to his grandmother, "Man, give me another orange soda!" Nathan got Sadie a corsage. Andrew was called Henrik by Mr. Bichette. Hutch got called Hutchinson by Mr. Langer, so he proceeded to call Mr. Langer Frank. Joseph cut Carson's rat tail off and put it in a drawer in science. Connor, Josh Macaulay, and Eli thought they were YouTube stars creating videos about longboarding and hot sauce challenges on their free time. We used Lindsay's bucket in our snow sculpture for winter weekend, and it ended up getting disqualified. When she went back to get her bucket, it was gone. In 8th grade, we were joined by Eric Luciardiso.
Could have been out of here, but I bought a 2-year extension plan.
Caitlin face-planted during an assembly. Julia fell in the cafeteria and everyone stopped talking just to stare at her. Audrey sat on a muffin and everyone called her blueberry behind or muffin butt. Sadie got her finger caught in the Spanish chair. Eli, Hunter, Nathan, Josh Macaulay, and Connor sunk a canoe in the middle of the lake, and Eli's mom had to row out and save them all in the canoe. Carson got in trouble with Mr. Fish for slapping Eli. Caitlin made her Newton car out of styrofoam, and it was at this time she realized she was allergic to styrofoam. She ended up going to the hospital. Caitlin was in fact allergic to the science project. Carson was found playing Toy Story 3 on his Xbox all alone. I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Abby Conyo. 9th grade. In 9th grade, we were joined by Joshua Clark.
I make trees disappear. What's your superpower?
Carson walked into French class from the bathroom and said, "It didn't work."
Hunter went to the nurse and said, "Hey, I kind of drank rotten milk and I really don't feel good. Do you mind if I just chill here for a while?" The nurse then replied, "Do you want a candy cane?" The 6th period science class were making bird noises and Mrs. Baldwin said, "They need help." Mr. Cross said that Abby looked like Rocky III with her black eye. Brian got out of his mom's car at school and said, "I hate you," but then proceeded to chase her car to the stewards to apologize. Allison's necklace broke in math and beads went everywhere. We had to stop class for 5 minutes to pick up all the beads. Mrs. Baldwin asked what one of the theories for the end of the universe was, and Audrey said, "The Big Rip." Joseph cut off Carson's rat tail for the 2nd time. Mackenzie asked if California was in state or out of state when we were doing our career project. We were not sure. She yet knows the answer. I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Brian McAfee.
In 10th grade, we were joined by Edward Clausen.
I'm not here to take part, I'm here to take over.
This was the year Kyle got made fun of for dating numerous young girls. Mackenzie said she didn't feel good, and Mrs. Moore was walking her to the nurse. Mackenzie puked all over Mrs. Moore's shoes. Ed was yelled at daily because he tracked in mud on his shoes, which left a pile under his seat. While at Hairstyles Unlimited Haunted House, we were in the vampire room, and they said, "Look at the veins on him. Look at the neck on him." Brenda turned around and pointed to Eli and says, "Look at the neck on him." Caitlin came in late to English, stating that she had a cheeseburger in her pocket. She then proceeded to eat it in front of Miss Cutter. Sadie was so scared of Mr. Lambert that she was sprinting so she wouldn't be late. Unfortunately, she was sprinting so fast that she slid into the desk outside of his room, fell, and was late for class. I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Lindsay Gilmore.
In 11th grade, Eli was driving Brendan and Ed home from Jake Buffet with his windows open. Ed's fortune cookies went flying out the window while driving down the highway. During one of the girls' soccer games, Brian, Brendan, and Eli decided to prank Ed and move his car to the Industrial Arts parking lot. After the game, while he was looking for his car, Connor and Carson convinced him that his car had been towed to the police barracks. Later, he saw his car while Eli was driving him to the barracks. In history class, Mr. Koss asked anyone if they had heard of Anthony Weiner. While everyone was laughing, Liam proceeded to yell, "Ha ha, you said Anthony." Mr. Koss proceeded to take the joke and told it in the next class. Ed wore his mom's jeans to school. The jeans had bedazzled and embroidered pockets. But he didn't know he was wearing them until people told him the last period of the day. Mr. Koss called on Hannah and said, "All right, Hannah Montana." In English, Kyle was supposed to read, "You only baptized 2 of your 3 children," but instead he read, "You only baptized 2 of your 3 chickens." Miss Penfield gave the class a 14-page packet, and when Liam passed it back to Brendan, he said, "Here you go, there's 10 pounds of math." Lydia, Allison, and Natalie were driving down Brian's road and saw him outside his house, so they honked at him. Brian then turned around and started chasing the car because he didn't know who it was. Caitlin was being ball girl for the girls' sectional game. When she went to give the team the ball, she slipped and everyone laughed at her. Hutch one day mixed up the hour and minute hands and with a serious face said, "Wow, it's 4:50, but really it was only 10:20. I will now turn the reading over to my friend and classmate, Kyle Cahoon.
In 12th grade, Emily begged Tara to make fudge every day for a week straight. She eventually did make fudge, but Emily got sick. After the Halloween dance, Tara brought her fudge in a huge pan. Brian, Brendan, and Lydia decided to donate blood at school. Brian was super nervous. Sadie tried to lighten up the mood by making jokes. This obviously didn't help because Brian passed out 30 seconds later. In homeroom, Nathan tried to let out a silent fart. But Miss Brown, being right next to him, smelled it. Grossed out, she proceeded to spray him down with Febreze. On the bus during soccer, Hunter decided it would be a good idea to connect to Kyle's Bluetooth speaker and play random noises. Hunter played a video full of weird noises, and when Kyle returned to the bus after getting food, it took Kyle at least 5 minutes to realize it was his speaker making those suspicious noises. Our senior play was the melodrama Days of Old, or You Can't Count Backwards from 10. After the show, we enjoyed Sundays, compliments of Stewart's, and Apple's, compliments of Chazy Orchard. We made enough money to pay for the majority of our rafting trip. In math, Nathan was leaning back in a desk, when all of a sudden there was a loud bang. Lindsay, Audrey, Josh McCauley, and Brian looked over to see the rows of chairs that Nathan had fell into in a domino effect. Turns out Nathan had been sitting in the one that was diagonal to the bench chair. The day before the long Memorial Weekend, we rafted the Hudson River with Adirondack Adventures. We had a picture-perfect day, and we had the time of our lives. This concludes the history of the class of 2018.
It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time.
Man, that Woodstock concert was fun, but we have to get back to Chazy now.
I have to go tend my cows.
No, Joe, we gotta get to class day.
Yeah, then we should probably start packing the van then.
'11th grade, a pin ceremony.
Maintenance staff, a building version of autocorrect.
Pre-K, unlimited smiles to share with all the cute kids.
10th grade, relationship advice.
Cafeteria staff, the return of the snack bar.
Custodial staff, your own version of Rosie from the Jetsons.
8th grade, a bigger budget and a studio audience for Shay's cooking show.
6th grade, portable Mrs. Lambert and Mrs. McCaslins for next year.
7th grade, more classmates.
Bus garage, sports teams who aren't so loud and stay on key. 9th grade, keep being diverse because there is enough normal already.
Mrs. Lambert, a better running time than Mrs. Langlois.
Miss Cutter, a kickin' pair of Heelys and some fresh vegetables.
Mrs. Wise, a red balloon.
Miss Withrow, a room instead of a lab.
Mrs. Langlois, a better running time than Mrs. Lambert.
Mrs. Pothouse, a name Josh Clark can pronounce.
Mrs. Christy Barcombe, a babysitter to replace Allison.
Mrs. Parsons, a happy retirement and more sweet rides.
Mr. and Mrs. Dupree, a family vacation.
Miss Basso, the nicest substitute teacher award.
Mr. Molson, a trip to Notre Dame.
Mrs. Racine, seniors that actually know what they want to do with their lives.
Miss Sapinski, a last name kids can pronounce correctly.
Mrs. Warren, a happy retirement.
Mrs. Wilford, more rocks and plants for more leaves.
Mrs. McCaslin, a neck that doesn't change colors.
Mr. Cost, new Christmas lights.
Mrs. Guerin, seniors that actually listen.
Mrs. Walsh, a personal landscaper for her gardens.
Mrs. Gadwa, her own tanning bed.
Mrs. Green, a bigger variety of songs to play during winter weekend.
Mrs. Moore, more calculators.
Mrs. Adams, her own Adams Family Special.
Mr. Graney, a new Keurig.
Mrs. Fall, more orange rifle students and glasses that Mr. P can't steal.
Mrs. Woods, some leaves for her STEM class.
Miss Gottschall, a constant supply of art supplies.
Mr. Trapini, a last name that kids can't rhyme with. Rotini, Linguini, Martini.
Mr. McCullough, soccer season year-round with unlimited chairs.
Mrs. Vasco, a new pizza server.
Mrs. Rebecca Whedon, a yoga studio.
Mr. Frechette, a Black Ops helicopter.
Miss Dandro, a lifetime of hand sanitizer.
Mrs. McCartney, walking shoes.
Mrs. Roscoe, a happy future with her family.
Mr. Norcross, a great baseball season.
Mrs. Moser, a lifetime supply of mints.
Mrs. Heather Dupree, a hoverboard.
Miss Napoli, a vest for every season.
Mrs. O'Mara, leader of the anti-tobacco group.
Mrs. Thu, a return of letter people.
Mrs. Sutherland, more organic products.
Mr. Patno, a bigger may I sign.
Mrs. Tuesday Barcombe, a new Camaro.
Mrs. Prescott, more spray paint.
Mrs. Everleth, name tags for every kid in the school so she knows our names.
Mrs. Agnew, a retirement filled with happiness.
Mrs. Penfield, more math-related clothing.
Mrs. Brown, more Febreze for Nathan.
Mrs. Davis, treasurers who actually have money to deposit and spend.
Mr. Ferraz, a permanent sponsor for Harvard Model UN.
Mrs. Baldwin, a trip to CERN, the Hadron Collider in Switzerland.
Mrs. Levine, a collection of Uggs.
Ms. Nichols, awards for her show cows.
Mrs. Parliament, a lead role in eyewitness courtroom dramas.
Mrs. Trudeau, a nanny for her cute girls.
Mr. Kane, more lax stuff, bro.
Mrs. Williams, a honeymoon with her husband.
Miss Juno, her own bottle to flip.
Mrs. Roberts, a new knee.
Mrs. Riley, roller skates so she could get around faster.
Mr. Tregan, a gift card to Applebee's.
Mrs. Favreau, have third grade snack days.
Mrs. Stevens, a reading nook.
Mrs. Miller, front row seats to her husband's band performances.
Mrs. Chazy Whedon, a list of babysitters.
Mr. Rabideau, a happy retirement and a lead role in the next year's CMT production.
Mrs. Conroy, a halo and a pair of wings.
Mrs. Roberts, her own children who are shorter than you.
Mrs. Pupor, our supportive thoughts.
Mrs. Gosselin, some real injuries to tend to.
Mrs. Ledoux, cookies, because you know they fall in your mouth.
Mr. Rabideau. Mrs. Pepper, another cute grandchild.
Mrs. Duffy, a trip around the world.
Mrs. Brandell, a trip to Florida to see her kids.
Mr. Thompson, a fidget cube.
Mr. Fairchild, a collection of shorts shorter than 4 inches.
Kristen Lamoureux, her own library of books.
Hayden King, more fields to plow.
Jack Pelton, conditioner.
Amelia Stevens, an audition on The Voice.
Kendra Becker, a collection of bum clothes.
Josiah Bouchard, a Roland Edwards Scissorhands.
McLean Dudiak, a mean bone in his body.
Joshua Lamoureux, a laminator.
Victoria Miller, more sound effects for her boots.
Scott Gay, more camo. Ben Norcross, more juice pouches from Mrs. Penfield's room.
Kyra Becker, pickle juice. Mark Akey, his own floaties.
Bryce Panetta, record deal for BP Audio.
Ayana Lamoy, a new parking space.
Tristan Connors, a portable Mr. P.
Andrew Terrell, Gym Class Hero Award.
Bruce Juno, a few more friends from other schools.
Justin Collins, a fast forward button.
Lynn Lucier Bisso, a helmet for her four-wheeler.
Catherine Provost, a trip to Nicaragua.
Jonathan Aborn, more Slipknot shirts.
Aiden Huckrow, more hours in the day for gaming.
Preston Lauren, contacts.
Matthew Perrin, an American flag for his Jeep.
Alex Chapman, bigger legs.
Bryce Mescal, his own rap label.
Joseph Sorrell, a personal gym.
Do you think this is all gonna fit?
It better, we're gonna be late for class today.
Classmates come and gather here, so we may look into the sphere. We shall look into the ball that holds the future of us all. It tells us what we are to be, so listen while we look and see.
If being late was a crime, this girl would definitely be serving time. No matter what time she leaves, Lindsay coming on time is something we'll never believe.
Lindsay, you're 20 minutes late. I thought I was on time.
Austin gave us quite a scare senior year. We're all just so thankful that he's still here. He continues to ride his dirt bike. We were wondering if he'd consider going on a hike.
He's every dentist's nightmare, but without Mountain Dew, he goes into despair. Ed couldn't live without it. If he runs out, he gets more lickety-split.
Who took my Mountain Dew? Let me tell you, man. Bro, we need it.
Carson, from that seat you can't drive the car. The steering wheel and pedals are a little too far. But you really seem to have things under control, so go ahead and let the good times roll.
Yo, guys, you know where Carson is? Yo, where's Carson?
If you see her, she's most likely mad. She's so mad you would think it's a fad. And even though she has no reason, Caitlin is mad during every season.
Hey, Caitlin, how's your homework going?
You know what? You know it's J Money when you see the chain. Josh M never wastes money by making it rain. And said he buys jackets and shoes in his bling. At managing money, he'll always be king.
Audrey was born under a red maple leaf, but she never stopped talking about it. Good grief. I guess it wasn't a habit that sinister, because now she's Canada's first woman Prime Minister.
As Prime Minister of Canada, you get a hot stick. You get a hockey stick. Everybody gets hockey sticks.
Brian, for crying out loud, stop shuffling. You drive people crazy and we're all suffering. Not only will someone tell you to stop, they might go a little further and give you a flop.
Brian, 28, pick up your feet.
Why are you so sassy, Julia West? This attitude of yours isn't really the best. However, it seems to be the only one that suits you, so just keep doing what you do.
Hey Julia, check out this article.
Yeah, no.
It's really all she talks about. High School Musical is her favorite movie without a doubt. Even if we tell Abby it's not that great, she thinks High School Musical is better than a date.
Hey Abby, what are you watching?
High School Musical.
You like to be looked at as a tall drink of water. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's much hotter. He likes to consume it to keep hydrated. The amount of H2O he consumes cannot be overstated.
Man, I'm thirsty. I'm still thirsty. I'm so thirsty!
When it comes to sports teams, he's got a lot of thoughts. He watches all the games and connects all the dots. He always gets mad at the decisions they make. When it comes to sports teams, Brendan's head aches.
So did you see this really Yankee game last night?
No, did they finally win? They lost again.
She's very independent in her own right, turning guys away day and night. Even when they cry and plead, and swerving the guys, Sadie always succeeds.
Hey, what's up, baby?
On the soccer field as Eagles they soar, but when lunchtime comes, it's a microwave war. Nathan's wheels may go very fast, but most every day by Connor he is passed.
He's got a passion for cutting trees. When it comes to wood, he's the bee's knees. Even when Josh is wearing his camo, he's as visible as an angel with a halo.
It's 10 years later and Olivia's still outside, out in front of the school just waiting for a ride. Where oh where could Tebow's dad be? Will she still be here at year 23?
A scooter ride 6 was all Connor needed, and at this simple goal, he always succeeded. He rode on the scooter in the hallway each day and managed to always keep the detention at bay.
If you do a good weld, you'll make a good joint. And if you do it all day, you'll make a good coin. Eric is staring at sparks all day and stashing a ton of welding money away.
Liam, is that another pug on your chest? We know you like those shirts, but they really aren't the best. If we bought you more shirts, would you give them a try? That would help make you a little more fly.
Yo, Liam, you still wearing pug shirts? Yeah, man, I just bought them this morning.
Lydia, why haven't you stopped making fun of Mackenzie? Every time you say something, she goes into a frenzy. But just in case Mackenzie no longer finds it fun, keep that knee ready to go on the run. Don't ask this girl where things are on a map. When we were in geography, she must have taken a nap. Mackenzie will never be able to pass a test, since she hasn't figured out that California's out west.
Okay, go.
So, Kenzie, where's California?
Here.
Are you kidding me? It says Morocco right there.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
We're now on a holding place.
Natalie needs to stop feeding her poor cat. 10 years of Doritos has gotten it so fat. How is it possibly still alive? Apparently on Doritos, it truly does thrive.
She seems like an avid note taker, but really it couldn't be any faker. Allison's doodling away in math, and all we can do is laugh.
Tara just loves to multitask. Anything you want done, you just need to ask. The problem is that, as Tara would say, she just can't find enough time in a day.
Yeah, sure, we can just do that for you. I mean, after I finish all this. Yeah, sure, no problem.
Hunter isn't sure where he wants to go. Like his hair, he's just going with the flow. He may not know where he wants to be, but he knows it isn't in the halls of Chazy.
Hey, Hunter. Anything yet?
Whatever happened to our old friend Joe? We have a guess or two about where he'd go, but we know where he really wants to be, tending the cows just like Lenny.
Tell me about the cows, George.
Well, I mean, there's going to be cows, horses, pigs, you're going to get 10 them all day long.
What are we going to do about Hutch? 10 years later and he's raging so much. His video foe is the old game Fortnite. Since he can't beat it yet, he should just give up the fight.
He's got more shoes than sense, but it's okay because he plays good defense. To the ninth graders, he's a hunk, but Kyle's a real star when he slam dunks.
dynasty known as Pelon. In her hands, the business continues to go on. Emily doesn't need any luck as long as she's got a few good running trucks. He was never very good at the wheel. How badly he drives is almost unreal. He remains a threat to other automobiles. Will driving always be Andrew's Achilles heel?
Oh my God, not again!
You might hear Hannah arguing from time to time, and it rarely goes as well as this rhyme. Knowing this might make you want to run, but for all of us, it's just good fun.
It's healthy for you, though. As opposed to the energy drink substrate. No, that is better. No, why?
Now that we've told you what the future will bring, let's hope that we've covered most everything. Now everything has left our view. We hope our predictions will all come true.
To the president of the upcoming senior class, we present this gavel to show your authority.
To the vice president, we present the Constitution so that you can uphold the bylaws of Chazy Central Rural School.
To the secretary, we give the ledger to record the important notes of your senior year.
To the treasurer, we present the coffer to collect funds to finance your senior year.
In life, there always comes a time when we have to say goodbye. They are never easy, but necessary. Luckily, with every goodbye comes a hello to a world of opportunities. Saying goodbye to a school of wonderful memories and an education with a lifetime is hard. It is nice to be reminded that all the stress of figuring out the next step in life is worth it in the end. Because in the end, our real goal is happiness. The real feeling of satisfaction when everything you worked so hard for falls into place. Seniors, you may feel this happiness and satisfaction right now as you realize today is your class day and your graduation is right around the corner. Even if it has not quite hit you yet, the last 13 years of hard work were worth it. Today, we celebrate you, because isn't that what this day is about, reflecting on the past and welcoming the future? These years of memories and friends you have met along the way will always be a reminder of this important first chapter of your life. Today, you each get to say hello to the life you will make for yourselves. In the grand scheme of things, you each have a dream or plan that you've thought of since you were little, or maybe last year or a week ago you decided, well, I better figure something out. You each have a plan. The majority of the time, that plan is taken and broken into a million different uncontrollable paths. Some of these paths will likely be positive and some likely be negative, but they are paths you adapt to and learn from. I guess that is what life is, a plan that we hope goes flawlessly, but knowing we'll hit some bumps in the road. Those bumps are okay. They will help you learn what you really want and what makes you happy. The dictionary defines life as an existence of an individual human being or animal. In reality, you are all so much more than just an existence. Life is not about existing, it's about living. Life is about making your life meaningful to yourself and to others. It's about living your best life. Don't worry about living a flawless life, because people who really live take their plans and goals in life and fly with it. Like Oscar Wilde once said, "To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people just exist." After today, seniors, you no longer have people telling you what to do or how to do it. You have the freedom and responsibility to live the way you want. It is important to ask yourself, have I been existing or have I really been living? The simple answer for you seniors is you've all been living, not merely existing together. For 13 years, we have watched you grow and admire the acceptance you have for each other. So if in the future you find yourself forgetting how to really live, remember some small things that have proven how your class has lived. I think I can speak on behalf of all of us when I say the class of 2018 has always gone above and beyond making their papier-mâché sculptures each year. Hopefully, us juniors will follow your lead. But in all seriousness, as a class, you've set your goals higher than normal, even with things as small as making a papier-mâché sculpture. Don't forget to apply this mindset of setting your goals high in every aspect of your life. Whether it be a task as small as completing a papier-mâché sculpture, or a task as monumental as graduating from college or landing your first real career. Never forget what little old Chazy taught you. You know how to live your best life. This class may be one of the most competitive classes Chazy has seen in a while, but at the end of the day, this class will do anything to help each other. Never forget each other. Never forget how close you have become with your classmates these past years. Never forget the relationships you have built with each other. Most of all, remember, Chazy will always be here to remind you of the great things you're capable of. Even though today may be the end of the first chapter of your life, you have each in your own way created a life for yourself that the rest of us see nothing but success and happiness. Together, your class experienced so many moments and so many memories together you didn't even know you were making. Your class has demonstrated what it's like to live a life to its full potential. It is crazy to think you're really just getting started. Today is the beginning of what your great minds will do and accomplish. If you take anything from today, let it be to never let yourself exist, because you are all worth a life of great living.
4,680 days ago, the class of 2018 got off that big yellow school bus and faced what was considered to be the beginning of the biggest journey of our lives. Scared to talk to the people next to us who we now call our friends. We've come a long way together since that first day of school. Our next 13 years are sort of like a lollipop, both sweet and sour. To quote Ralph Waldo Emerson, every sweet has its sour and every evil has its good. From kindergarten to third grade, life was pretty sweet. We were making brand new friends, we had snack time and nap time. We went on tons of field trips and did a whole bunch of fun class activities. But then it was time for us to go upstairs. As 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, it seemed as though our lollipop had a few sour spots. We had no more snack time or nap time. Our academics got a lot harder. But there were some sweet moments too. We felt like the kings and queens of the school. We were the older ones, the bigger kids. We got the talks of something called BO. Clearly, those talks did not work. Because in 7th and 8th grade, we all smelled bad. I mean really bad. But it was sweet because we all smelled bad together. But as junior high kids, we didn't feel like the bigger ones anymore. We were running from class to class with every subject in our arms. In 9th and 10th grade, we developed the symptoms of early senioritis, but we were too young to be diagnosed. It seemed as though our lollipop would never become sweet again. But then something happened. We became juniors, and then we became seniors. We began to really become a class. We got a lot closer. We did prom together. We spent time together. We made memories and friendships that would last us a lifetime. But our lollipop had some sour spots. It took us all these years to realize at some point we had to grow up. We had to be adults. We started looking at colleges, just trying to figure everything out, and at the same time, wondering if we'd ever see our best friends again. So to quote Jack Sparrow, the problem is not the problem itself, the problem is your attitude towards the problem. So this is what I figured out. We choose whether we bite before the lollipop center. We choose what flavor of life we want. So listen to some advice, which you probably won't listen to until you're done with until you're close to being done with school, but listen anyways. School is going to be dreadful if you don't plan to savor it. Life will be dreadful if you don't plan to savor it. So unwrap life slowly. Enjoy its taste, textures, and smells. Be in the moment and be present, because before you know it, your lollipop is gone and the experience is over. So to all the underclassmen, remember this. Be grateful for both the sweet and the sour times. Because the sweet is awesome, but it's the sour that helps you appreciate the sweet ones even more. We all know Chazy is a special school. Perhaps we even take it for granted. It is a school of tradition, a distinction, a place where you're not just a number in the grade book. You're a community, a family. Our school is a place where everyone knows your name and every student is guided to find the very best parts of themselves. There is always someone there to support you, no matter what. It's almost like a 24/7 support system. Always there when you need it most. Our class gets to have a unique distinction that no other current class gets to have. In 11 days, our class will be the 100th graduation ceremony. It is an honor to walk across the stage. It will be an honor to walk across the stage in 11 days. For me, I'm proud to be the 125th West Descendant to walk the halls of Chazy. 125th, because Julia comes before Lydia. It will not only be an honor for my family, it will be an honor for me to do it with my classmates right next to me. So thank you, Chazy. Thank you to our community. Thank you for always supporting our class. Kindergarten gym shows, senior and elementary plays, cheering us on in sporting events and winter weekends, even when we couldn't sing or dance. Thank you to the teachers and staff who have guided us or put up with us for the past 4,680 days. No matter what our issue or problem was, you were always there to help. Whether it was threatening to quit because we were done with senior year, or needing that extra push right before we gave up. On behalf of the class, thank you. We wouldn't be here about to graduate without your help and encouragement. Thank you to the elders who have built the foundation on who we have become. You helped build this school, and you are as proud of it just as much as we are. Thank you to our parents. The other day, my mom asked me how to take a screenshot, and I laughed at her. But then I remembered, she's the one who taught me how to use the toilet. And let's be real, every class has musicians, athletes, artists, but we definitely are the best looking class in school. So always be kind to one another. Hold the door for the person behind you. I swear the hardest moment as a high schooler is walking down that long hallway and passing another student. In your head, you're saying, do I say hi to them or pretend to read the papers on the wall? Gain some confidence and say hello. You might make someone's day. Because growing up is not always sweet. Life is not always sweet. We need the sour spots, those tough times, to get to the good. So let's shift metaphors a bit. A camera. It's something we use every day on our phones. Just like the idea that life is a lollipop, life is also a camera. Dorothea Lange once said, photography takes an instant at a time, altering life by holding it still. We all know that it is not the device itself that is important, it is what it produces. A still photograph that captures and presents life's greatest moments. So live your life like a camera. Focus on what's important, develop from the negatives, always capture the good times, and if things don't work out, just take another shot. Don't focus and overthink the bad. Those times only help you remember the good, help us capture our life story. Our life gallery starts empty, but with time and experience, we fill our galleries with stories that we can share. We capture the moments of life and fill our scrapbooks. So don't let the sour spots ruin your scrapbook, because you paid $6.95 for that at Michael's. Every day, wake up and ask yourself this: what will I add to my scrapbook today? You have the power to choose what you add. To quote Lisa Nichols, you are the designer of your destiny, you are the author. The pen is in your hand, and the outcome is whatever you choose. You have the power to write your life scrapbook. You get to choose what to focus on. You're going to face challenges building up your life scrapbook, but that's okay. Sometimes you need to take a step back and readjust some things. So at the end of the day, life is all about choices. Choose what flavor of lollipop you want. Choose what pictures to capture, and then savor them forever.
That's the kind of car you want to drive when you're 16 fast. That's the kind of boys that you want on your home team fast. Yeah, you think you're gonna catch your big dreams just like that fast. And here you are, looking back. 60 seconds down feels more like 30. Tick-tock won't stop and round it goes. Stand through the glass, your falls in a hurry, and all you keep trying to do is slow it down. So get in, keep trying to make the good times last as long as you can. But you can't, man, it just goes too fast. That's what your parents said when we were falling in love. It's too fast. They never made the two of us, but we're gonna last what we did. And here we are, and our only problem is 60 seconds down feels more like 30. Tick-tock won't stop and round it goes. Sand through the glass, your falls in a hurry, and all you keep trying to do is slow it down. long as you can, but you can't, man. So it just goes too fast. Looking at you, looking up in your eyes, now those eyes, that dress, that smile, that laugh. If I could hit pause, I would somehow, but it don't work like that. 60 seconds now feels more like 30. Tick-tock won't stop and round it goes. Sand through the glass, your falls in a hurry, and all you keep trying to do is slow it down. Soak it in, keep trying to make the good times last as long as you can, but you can't. Yeah, man, it goes too fast. It just goes too fast. Way too fast. I'm 15 for a moment, caught in between 10 and 20, and I'm just dreaming, counting the ways the way you are. I'm 22 for a moment, and she feels better than ever. We're on fire, making our way back from Mars. 15, there's still time for you, time to buy and time to lose. 15, there's never a wish better than this, when you only got 100 to live. I'm 33 for a moment, still the man, but you see I'm all there, a kid on the way, babe, a family on my mind. I'm 45 for a moment, the same is high, and I'm heading through what I see, chasing the years of my life. 15, there's still time for you, time to buy, time to lose yourself within a morning star. 15, I'm alright with you. 15, there's never a wish better than this, when you only got 100 years to live. Half time goes by, suddenly you're right, another blink of an eye. 67 is gone, the sun is getting hot, we're moving on. I'm 99 for a moment, I'm done for just another moment, and I'm just dreaming, counting the ways to where you are. 15, there's still time for you, 22, I feel like to go, 33, you're on your way. You can't count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh. Taking chances, I feel a lot like 17. I feel like windows roll down new city streets and cabs. I feel like anything can happen, laughing. You take me right back to when we were kids. Never thought I'd feel like this, like when I close my eyes and don't even care if anyone sees me dancing, like I can fly and don't even think of touching the ground, like a heartbeat skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip on an aeroplane. It's the way that I feel when I'm with you, brand new. I feel like a young John Cusack, like making big mistakes. I feel like for the first time in a long time, I am not afraid. I feel like a kid. Never thought it'd feel like this, like when I close my eyes, don't even care if anyone sees me dancing, like I can't fly and don't even think of touching the ground, like a heartbeat skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip on an aeroplane. It's the way that I feel when I'm with you, brand new. Like when I close my eyes and don't even care if anyone sees me dancing, like I can fly and don't even think of touching the ground, yeah. Like a heartbeat skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip
Hey, face us this way, Caitlin.
The world awaits. The sun is shining on this amazing day of new beginnings and farewells to say. Our new road is paved with a new path in sight. It's time to take it. It feels quite right. We will say farewell to all we have known. We'll pick up our own paths and sit upon our new throne. It's time to conquer the world that awaits. Allow yourself to embrace your fate.
According to Lucy Larcombe, he who plants a tree plants a hope. This tree before you represents our class in more ways than you may think. It symbolizes our hopes and dreams for the future. Like many of us, this tree is truly starting its life here at Chazy. And just like this little tree, we have already done some growing. However, also like this tree, we each will continue to grow and mature into adults. Like us, our little tree has a lot of life left to live, and it will not be without challenges. Many of us will be leaving Chazy, but our roots are here. We will forever be tangled up with one another. As a class, we've grown together here in this school. For years, our paths have intertwined with each other as we lived through both the best and worst times of our lives together. However, just like this tree will, we have weathered the storms and we have grown closer and become more than just a class. We've become a family.
We understand that this is the end of a chapter in our lives here at Chazy, but let us not be sad. Instead, let us celebrate our accomplishments and our continued growth in the future. Just like this tree, we are still young and there is much for us to experience. We will never forget where we planted our roots. As we age and get farther from our high school days, we will continue to grow strong and beautiful. When we each eventually settle down, perhaps we can start a family. We will be like this tree, each completely unique and one of a kind and forever a part of Chazy. So let this tree symbolize our class and our time here. Let it represent the mark the class of 2018 leaves on Chazy's history. Let it represent the success we've had together. Each time someone looks at our tree, let them remember our class and all we gave to this school and all it gave to us. And finally, to our tree, live a long and prosperous life so our legacy as a class of 2018 lives on with you.